Let's get into it. The main topic here. Some other things I want to bring up, but I want to get into this right now. So,
Tulsi Gabbard and Barack Obama.
yeah, so
I've been saying for several years now that most of what you got out of that administration and the Biden administration that followed, they're falsities propagandized to try and discredit the opposition in a fashion that has not occurred over a nationwide spread like it has been at any point in American history. You have a few exemplars like Tammany Hall in New York back in the 19th century, or certain crooked organizations. Los Angeles used to be rife with that back in the 50s and the 40s, but Chicago used to have those problems, but it's getting worse, and you've got a mechanism called social media, the internet, etc., that makes it easier. Ought to be interesting when the indictments start flowing.
I wanna let me read this because this is what Trump posted on his Truth Social. In the months leading up to the November 2016 election, the intelligence community agreed that there was no intelligence that reflected that Russia was trying to hack the election. So it's very striking when we look back at the documents that I declassified and released to show there was a shift in early December. And I want to play this clip of Tulsi.
Leading up to the November 2016 election, the intelligence community agreed that there was no intelligence that reflected that Russia was trying to hack the election in favor of either candidate. The evidence showed, the intelligence showed that, again, Russia did not have either the intent nor the capability to be able to impact the outcome of the United States election. So it was very striking when we look back again at the documents that I declassified and released that shows there was a shift in early December, the first week of December. Again, another document was produced by the intelligence community, a president's daily brief that was consistent with every other assessment that was done previously leading up to the election. Russia did not, this is after the election now, did not attempt to affect the outcome of the American election. That was never published. Hours before it would have gone into President Obama's President's Daily Brief, it was pulled by a senior level intelligence official saying that they had to pull it because they had received new guidance. The very next day, this meeting was called, a National Security Council meeting, bring together all of the senior leaders of President Obama's cabinet, and the topic that was put forward was a sensitive matter. The tasks that came out of that meeting was coming from President Obama directing the intelligence community, then Obama's ODNI director Clapper, to produce a document, to produce an intelligence assessment that detailed not if, but how Moscow affected the outcome of the election that had already occurred, electing Donald Trump to the presidency. This document that they published in January of 2017 was the foundational groundwork that they continued to reference over and over and over again to enact this years-long coup against President.
Okay, so that was the end of that clip.
Well, what you're listening to is the exact same kind of thing on a different scale that we just heard about relative to the false claim of improper arrest and imprisonment by ICE that has been discredited.
This meeting was called.
That's what you're listening to. And again, it becomes a matter of if they tell a lie, an obvious caught red-handed lie, in one instance, you might want to consider that everything they're telling you is a lie. And that's, by the way, an instruction that juries would get when assessing, relative to assessing the credibility of a witness. So here we go. You have the lackey mainstream media, the Obama/Biden administration / Imhoff administration, and they are into that fascist thing. Tell a lie long enough, loud enough, you can get anyone to believe it. And the mainstream media right now is repeating over and over and over and over the prevarication about what Trump has been up to or not up to. And they're trying to get the American public to accept it as a reality, even though it has no foundation in truth.
So this is what Trump posted on Truth Social yesterday, right? And it's like a collage of different videos. And then in this video, it's an AI of Obama being arrested. Let me just play it.
No one, especially the president, is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No one is above the law.
Nobody is above the law.
No one is above the law.
Nobody is above the law.
No one 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 is above the law.
Oh, son of a bitch.
I don't want to get a copyright from the song, so that's why I muted it. Look, AI is crazy. I need to hire someone who is very, very good with creating AI videos and pictures. This is crazy. All right. Is Obama going to get arrested? No. No, he's not. That is Mr. Untouchable. He is Mr. Untouchable. But you know why Trump created this, and why they released these documents? Again, and it's a question I need to ask, is Trump losing his MAGA base? Because they have been dragging Trump and his administration ever since last week when Pam Bondi, Attorney General Pam Bondi, came out and said, the case is closed. He did commit suicide, yada, yada. There's no list. Had the AC on.
Yeah, I had to turn the air conditioning on. Phone overheated.
So, yeah. So I was saying no one is above the law. But Obama is Mr. Untouchable. He's never going to get arrested.
Well, he's the only president that has been, well, he's not the only one, but he was mentioned by name in 7 counts, I think it was, of an organized crime indictment involving one of the clients of his law firm, or the law firm he was in. That's cute.
Yeah. So
an unindicted co-actor.
So somebody put in the chat, other people around him can get arrested.
Yeah.
Do you think that's what happened?
Well, the thing that's interesting is it would be a high crime and a misdemeanor in office, which after the precedent that the Democratic-controlled House set ill-advisedly, you can go after a president for Article 2, Section 4 impeachment matters, even though he no longer holds the office. They went after Trump when he was no longer president. They can go after Barack Obama. It'd be symbolic only, but they could.
This is another instance where you see the Democrats having projected what they were doing onto Donald Trump. The Obama administration was undermining public confidence in the elections, deliberately undermining confidence in the elections, and then accusing the Trump campaign of doing the very same thing. They knew that they didn't have the actual intel or any evidence to actually bring any charges against Trump because, of course, he didn't do any of the things they were accusing him of, but they were constantly leaking to the news media. And that was one of the things that we saw revealed today in these new documents, is that they were using the intelligence community essentially as a public relations arm. This is another instance where you
Typical.
Was a hoax. Fox News alert, we just got a peek inside Obama's black book, and it turns out Barack knew the Russia hoax was a hoax all along, but pushed it anyway to sabotage the Trump presidency. DNI Tulsi Gabbard declassifying pages and pages of documents, showing Obama's intel guys briefed him just weeks after the 2016 election that the Russians didn't actually sway the election. Quote, we assessed that Russian and criminal actors did not impact the recent U.S. election results. Criminal activity also failed to reach the scale and sophistication necessary to change election outcomes. But Obama just couldn't accept that. So he and his staff instructed intel agencies to cook up new reports to support Russia collusion. Quote, after the meetings, Clapper's executive assistant emailed intelligence community leaders, tasking them to create a new intelligence community assessment per the president's request that detailed the tools Moscow used and actions it took to influence the 2016 election. Tulsi Gabbard described what she found as a conspiracy to subvert the will of the American people. And she says the people involved should be prosecuted and has made a criminal referral to the Department of Justice.
That's a classic propaganda tactic. Accuse the other side of doing what you're doing.
Exactly.
Displacement.
But is it a distraction from the Epstein list?
The Epstein list is minuscule. It's not going to have much impact on anything. And as I think, the Epstein list is a minefield right now in terms of its potential to jeopardize the lives and activities of the American and allied intelligence communities.
Okay, I get that. But what I'm saying is, see, all these people on X holding spaces, they got 5,000, over 1,000 people in the space.
Ignorance is rampant.
Upset. They're like,
They'd be upset.
So now all of a sudden, because I look at it like this, okay, so now you expose the declassified Russia hoax. Well, how about they also declassify the 2020 election?
Well, the 2020 election is fine with that too. That'll come around. I think that's one of the aims of the current Trump administration, is to work that up so they've got the research and the documentation, and then let go of it and let it hit the fan. It's all in the timing too.
So Hunter Biden, a clip of him popped up talking about the immigrants, well, the illegals.
For someone, am I going to be like all these Democrats say, you have to talk about and realize that people are really upset about illegal immigration. Fuck you. How do you think your hotel room gets cleaned? How do you think you got food on your fucking table? Who do you think washes your dishes? Who do you think does your fucking garden? Who do you think is here by the fucking sheer fucking just grit and will that they figured out a way to get here because they thought that they could give themselves and their family a better chance. And he's somehow convinced all of us that these people are the fucking criminals? For someone, am I?
Well, my answer to that, in response to that is, they're criminals just like the criminals who sold you the crack that you are shown prominently smoking on your 3 laptops. So, yeah, does that make what they did okay because they sold you your crack or supplied you with it? Crime is crime, and it puts Americans out of jobs. It opens up the border to not only criminals, reprobates, sex offenders, sickos, infected people who may be carrying.
What happened? Oh, honey, can you please stop calling his phone? Hello, you hear me?
Hear me? I hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. See, it's got to do with opening up our borders to Al Qaeda, ISIS, all of the people that want to kill us off so they don't have to hijack airplanes to pull off another 911. They walk in with the military grade explosives, set the charges, and await the cue to detonate them. They don't even have to commit suicide to do it now.
Well, my
And
thing is, he's saying a lot of F words.
I
Why?
know that's
Why is
him. That's him. But it is what it is. Oh, just like I suppose we should legitimate his crack dealers and suppliers because they provided him with his merchandise. Well, that people subvert American labor laws by compounding, aiding, and abetting the violation of American law does not make it all right.
Well, I want to ask you this though. Is Trump, do you think because people were upset with the Epstein and there's a couple other things, and then with the falling out with Elon Musk and Elon Musk trying to start a new party, do you think Trump is losing his MAGA base?
No, he's gaining it. And the whole thing with Musk is going to work out as a rapprochement. It's theater. As I've said, we have the makings through MAGA of a third party already in existence, which might be very helpful to the American political scene. Musk is saying some things that are not ill taken. And what he's doing is he's being a step back critic of something that Trump has to do as leader of the Republican Party. In order to maintain party unity, you have to give the parties at least some of what they are requesting or demanding to maintain their loyalty and cohesion. So Musk is complaining about some of the things that the Republicans want, or what they call pork, just like the Democrats are talking about. In other words, it's just stuff in the barrel that they decide to cut up and dispense, and it's unnecessary and unneeded, but they want it badly to satisfy their constituents and to make whole of their own campaign promises. So
Yeah.
it is what it is. It's politics. We've just gotten used to the political process being behind the camouflage net because the media has had no alternatives that present themselves to altering the narrative that they've been giving us, which is a false one about what's going on. I know, for example, Russia had absolutely nothing to do with me voting for Trump. Hadn't heard anything they were talking about that was of particular significance to me. I know a lot of people, and I don't know anybody that was influenced by the Russians. I do know that a lot of people were not pleased by what they heard from mainstream media, and it's kind of also there's a downside when you're telling this tale long and loudly to get everybody to believe it. Sometimes you aggravate other people who are on the fence and say they're talking about it so much there must be a good reason why they're so upset besides what they say. So coming out, just give things time and the tail percolates to the top.
So this month, I think it was today or yesterday. No, today officially makes 6 months that he's been in office for his second term, and it seems like we are on year 3 with so much stuff that happened from since January 21st to now July 21st. He did so much that most presidents do in basically 2 terms. Because we talked about before, Obama, he only signed maybe a total of 4 or 5 executive orders, totaling his whole 8 years that he's been president. So when you compare that to Trump and bills and everything else that's going on, it seemed like Trump has been president already for 3 years and it's only been 6 months.
It's like this. It's not that Obama didn't sign quite a number of executive orders, but not many of them dealt with matters that were popular with the American public or of great concern to the American public. They were secretive, they were behind the scenes, and there were efforts to subvert or get around, ignore certain strictures of American law. So it's not surprising. As I've said for several years, the American Democratic Party is beginning to mimic the National Socialist Workers' Party, the acronym for which is NAZI, Nazi. And a lot of the methodologies that the Democrats are using are the same. Some people say communist, but communism was self-limiting. It had an objective which, once accomplished, was supposed to obsolete the need for it. But fascism is just a method of taking control and imposing a totalitarian regime on people who are presumed to be incapable of self-governance so that you can get a particular agenda pushed without any opposition. And look at the agenda that we get pushed on us and all of the opposition that gets so enthusiastically suppressed by the Democrats.